Hello Chicos, welcome to another Learn Electronics Repair video. So what do we have here? Well, we have an Asus laptop, and quite a nice one actually. I might have to zoom it down, I'm sure it's quite reading, but it's got GeForce integrated graphics of some sort, and it's a Intel Core i7 7th generation, so it's quite a nice machine. It has Sonic Master on it. And this was brought in by Andy. Andy runs a local mobile phone repair shop. And I introduced myself. I went in one day, a couple of months ago, really. Yeah, a couple of months back. So I said, hey, by the way, I do BGA rework and all sorts of stuff you probably don't have the kit to do. And he came down to see me, and now Andy's mobile repair workshop is also becoming the local computer, laptop and just about anything else he can get his hands on repair workshop, which he then brings to me. And it's fine, look, you know, I get to fix it. I make sure I charge a price so that Andy can make a profit. And Andy has the pleasure of dealing with all the customers. So I don't even know who the customers, the owners are. And that suits me absolutely fine. So I can just concentrate on fixing stuff. Yeah. And he does the rest. So Andy brought me this one in. Says he needs it by Monday. It's Friday afternoon now, but he did bring it yesterday, in fairness. So I either need to fix it or find out what it needs by Monday. Okay, so, well, he brought a power supply with it. Just look at this. It's, let's zoom down on it. Andy tells me that he's absolutely dead, by the way. Just doesn't come on at all. And the first thing that I noticed, and let's start with some very obvious things here. This is 19 volts, 3.5 amps per approximately 65 watt notebook PC, yeah? And this, which Andy brought with it, is like a 19 volt 2.1 amp power supply. Now that is like 38 or 39 watts, and this is like 65 watts. And I'm wondering straight away if that's an obvious reason why it's not working. So let's zoom it out a bit now and let's have a look. Having spotted something obvious, I'm going to start with the obvious, yeah. If it looks obvious, it smells like it's obvious, it might well be obvious. Yeah, what's wrong with this thing? So, power pack. Plugged in. It lights up. That's a start. It lights up. I'm assuming I need to get some voltage out of it. Let's have a look. Yeah. What have we got here? Well, 21 volts, good enough, close enough. I'm a bit, you know, I'd tell him this needs a proper power supply. That's the first thing. But let's just let's plug this in and see what it actually does. Yeah, is that the right power socket? Yeah, it's the right power socket. It is the power socket. Well, it stays lit up, and there's no lights on it. Yeah, nothing lit up. And this appears to be as dead as he says it is, yeah. Because the blue lights on, I suspect I've still got power going into it. Yeah, that's just, that's doing nothing. No lights, no nothing. Okay, let's open it up and let's have a look. Well, the first thing I can notice is that somebody's been in here before. Can you see that old tube up there? And that ain't me. That ain't me. I'm using a plastic spudger. Yeah, that's not going to damage anything. So it's been opened up before, I can see that, yeah. And the second thing I can see is that like the ribbon cable isn't attached, yeah, from the keyboard. So I'm not, this hasn't like just gone dead and nobody's looked at it, yeah. Just take that one out as well. So the ribbon cable was off, yeah. You just see it outside the it's gone flat somewhere, yeah, this thing. And I'm guessing possibly that is also the power, because I don't see any other cables coming down here off the top. And the power button's on the keyboard. So there's the first thing then, the keyboard wasn't attached. Let's try fix that. I've managed to reattach the keyboard. It wasn't difficult, and the touchpad. I wonder, so this is all supposition, I'll ask Andy, but I wonder if he's found this like lying around somewhere, because this shop is kind of like an Aladdin's cave full of stuff, yeah, everywhere, there's stuff everywhere, and I wonder if he's like found this and he wants to sell it, maybe, so maybe that's the problem. No, unfortunately it's nothing quite so simple as that, yeah, so power supply is attached to it and nothing lights up. Okay, we start nothing lit up, not even the battery charge one. Okay, let's have a look, and the light's still on here even though it's not powerful enough for this, yeah. Let's have a look, let's see if we've got any voltage in the battery for sort. I bet it's absolutely flat, and let's see if we can do anything with it. I've got a universal laptop charger. This is 100 watt, 4.2 amps. So this is quite capable of powering this thing up. Very useful thing to keep around the workshop, I find. So we could just check. I'm sure this is working. So yeah, that's 19 volts coming out of it. So let's try this on it and see whether this actually does anything. Well, there's no charge light or anything. Is any voltage actually getting into this thing? Well, some voltage on the battery, not a lot. 3.2 volts now. Let's just disconnect it. No, yeah, it changes slightly, so there's possibly some voltage coming out. Let's just check start button. So I'm guessing there should be 3.2 volts somewhere here. Put it in. Yeah, so there's power getting into it. Oh, I think I have some corrosion here. Let me zoom down. Let's just take the power off and let's have a look. Yeah, something under here. Yeah, that was corroded. Just come off. Just, oh, there's probably a screw holding it in. Of course, there's a screw holding it in. Of course there is. Yeah, there's bound to be. Just get this plastic thing off. But we can see there's some problem down here. We can just fold it back. Yeah, can you see here? Let's get under the microscope. Let's have a look. So here's the first problem there. This is obviously had something on it, which is a bit surprising because like the entire board was covered in like a big plastic sheet and there were no holes around here, and yet something's got on there. That's a bit of a mystery to me as to what's got on there. But anyway, for sure, there's the first problem we have. So we need to clean that off. It looks, well, without checking, this is either a ground plane or a power plane. And then some fairly thick tracks going from this thing over towards here. It might be related to the battery because it's kind of like in that area, yeah, so this might be something to do with the battery. The battery seems fairly flat, about 3 volts or so in it. There's no CMOS battery on this as far as I can see. I'm assuming the main battery acts as a CMOS as well. And apart from this, you might just have like a frozen I/O, you know, and a super I/O as I found. So you disconnect the battery and leave it overnight, and then things which are dead are not dead anymore in the way of laptops. Yeah. Anyway, let's get this off here and let's have a look to see what actually is going on here under this lot. I just need to find my little brush. Okay, bit of isopropyl alcohol. Can't do without this stuff, guys. You cannot do without isopropyl alcohol. Yeah, you need this stuff. So let's get that crap off there. Well, whatever it was, it certainly came off easily enough. Yeah, it didn't seem to cause, you know, any difficulty in coming off there. Bit of kitchen roll. Something else you need in your workshop, guys, kitchen roll. You can't do without kitchen roll either. Yeah. I scrounged it off the messes. take it out of the kitchen. And then she wonders why we've got no kitchen roll. Nothing to do with me, of course. Okay, so that's nice and clean now. Can we just test any of these components? I mean, this thing that says like X01, looks like it could be a low value resistor. Let's get the meter up here where we can see it's just out of interest. Out of interest, yeah, not out of interested. I think you can see that good enough. Lost the black meter probe, of course. Okay, here we go. Let's have a quick look. What's this little thing here? This black thing. Looks like it could be a fuse or something. A fuse link. Oh. It reads a low resistance. Let's see what's that actually reading. Because there's some more of these by this other chip. I'm just wondering whether it's having corrosion all over it, what it actually is. Let's have a look. Oh, it looks like a 10 ohm resistor. That must be the 10. Yeah, some more they read 10 ohms. That reads okay. Is this a ground plane? I'm just interested to see, is this a ground plane or a power plane? So, well, it ain't ground. Whatever it is, it ain't ground. And for a track that thick, it must be a power plane. Yeah, that's a power plane for something. It's on the other side. Look, it's actually kind of like bubbled this stuff. The corrosion's got at it. This is like the solder resist. Yeah, need some resistance. I'm thinking this is probably a MOSFET. I mean, this looks like the gate to me coming in here. And this looks like either side the MOSFET. This has got probably a capacitor across there. And then this is probably a resistor. Let's have a quick look. It makes sense this was a gate resistor. I just have to... if I look down the microscope, I can't then see the meter. 4K. Probably a gate resistor. What's this thing read? Maybe open circuit. Yeah, probably a capacitor. And that resistor looks like it goes off here, and I'll suspect that probably goes to this thing here. Let's have a quick look. Just a kind of a guess. That might come down here somewhere. Well, it looks like it, doesn't it? It looks like that goes to this. Yeah, it looks like there's a via there that goes up to this via that goes around. Okay, so that's being switched by that. That's for sure. I don't see any coils around here, unless on the other side of the board. Well, actually, yeah, I do see some coils on the other side of the board. I see some other MOSFETs as well down here. So a bit odd to say. Right, first thing then, has that fixed the fault? Yeah, has that fixed this? Let's have a look. I've just balanced the PCB back in here. I've connected the fan. You should see the LEDs are at the front. I've just connected the power, and I've just connected the keyboard to see whether or not that makes any difference. And no, it doesn't. So pressing start doesn't actually do anything. I'm not getting anything on the LEDs. The battery's disconnected at the moment, so that isn't helping. So let's take it back apart again and see if we can see what's happening with it. Okay, I've managed to balance it sort of upside down on the keyboard so I can get to a lot of the voltage regulating things now. I've got the fan attached in case it decides to do anything, and I can reach the on-off button on the keyboard. So let's just go and connect the power. So that's our, I've just put the power in. And let's see what voltage we've got on this. I'll just see if it starts, but I don't believe it'll actually do anything. Nothing happening. So do we have any supply voltages? So let's get to ground, and this should be the 19 volts coming in. Put the meter the right way round, black to ground, of course. 19 volts, 19.7. So that'll be coming in, I'm guessing, to this first MOSFET. 19.7. 19, but yeah, so it's coming through the first MOSFET. 19.7 there. This is the second MOSFET by the looks of it. Well, this could be a buck regulator. Let's have a look. Let's see what anything here. So that isn't running. That's not running. I think this is probably a MOSFET, you know. It looks like a low value resistor here, yeah, so it looks like it's coming through to there. It gets onto this rail, so let's have a look. Coming out of the resistor. Yeah, it's there. And that seems to go down this path here. Get onto it there. So that's going back up into here, I'm guessing. See if I can just get a good connection here. 19 volts. That's the high side MOSFETs. And it's coming down here. So 19 volts is definitely getting into this. There's anything else running? Well, there's a very low voltage on that one, 0.23. That's very low. So on this coil, nothing, 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 nothing. I'm just going around all the buck regulator because if you can't see where I am, it's because it's off screen, but there's nothing on that one. Ah, that's got half a volt on it. Nothing on that one. Nothing on that one. And I don't suppose anything's getting warm. No, I mean this is one of these is going to be the CPU, one's going to be the GPU. So all we seem to have here is like half a volt on here, which isn't a lot, and 0.23 volts on here, which isn't a lot. One of these resistor type things here, 0.23. That's kind of interesting. I mean, the 2 voltages I do have to me are extremely low. Is any voltage going to the battery connector? 0.23, 0.38. Okay, so there's 3.3 coming from somewhere because we can see 3.3 on here. Well, that's fair enough if the thing isn't starting. When we've got a 3.3 volt, and we can assume that's a standby because it doesn't power up. So I think the first thing I need to check probably is whether when I'm pressing the power button on the keyboard, anything is happening, you know, where the keyboard connects to the motherboard. Let's have a look at that. Okay. First thing, before I start checking if I've got a signal coming from the power button, which is kind of on the keyboard on this, let's just check, see if we've got any shorts on this. You know, just checking some obvious. I should have checked this before. So I mean, I don't think it's like a major short as much. It doesn't trip out the power supply. But let's have a look at all these low voltage rails and see what we've got. So we'll just check for inductor coils. So this is reading 97 ohms. Possibly RAM. I think there's some RAM on the board here in that other socket. What's this one reading? This is quite high. It's 15k. There's certainly no short. Well, that one's low. I'm just reading on a short. Okay, I'm reading 0.4 on a short. And 0.9, 0.8. That's close to being a short. And it's not like you've got 2 on 1 phase here powering some heavy load, because they're not the same. There's another one here. 272 ohms, seems quite reasonable. Another one here. 82 ohms, seems quite reasonable. 14 ohms. This is near to the either CPU or, but this is probably the CPU and the PCH in one, I'm guessing. So 14 there and 10 there. I bet one's the CPU and one's the PCH, just to guess. The little one here, which is near the battery. This is the one where we had the corrosion. 3.9 meg. There's 2 more here. 11.1. Oh, they read the same. Are they connected together? Yeah, they're both connected together. That'll be 2 phases, and this will be the GPU. So if that's the GPU, this is the CPU, this is the PCH. There shouldn't be anything else on here really that reads low resistance. Yeah, we seem to have a short on this, or close to a short on this supply rail. Okay, it's interesting. I haven't got a broken USB socket, have we, or something stupid? No, they look okay. Okay. Right, so yeah, we need to figure out what this voltage rail is. I did a Google on this one just before because I wanted to figure out where the keyboard effectively sends a switch into the Super I/O to turn it on, and I found a schematic not for this model but for something very similar to this model. I'm just looking on the back just to see if there's any more voltage rails. I can't see any more buck regulators. So I've got a schematic for something similar. This is a F541U Asus, and I've got a schematic for an X541UA or something like that, or UE, which must be very similar to this. Well, I say schematic, it's actually a board view. And I also have a repair guide. So let's have a look at what we've got and see what voltage rail this is on. Okay, so let's have a look at the repair guide that I found. And this repair guide and a schematic, any others that I use on this channel, you always find them on the Discord server. I don't think this one's there at the moment, but it will be by the time I upload this video. Okay, so let's have a look to see what we've actually got. This is the repair guide. Okay, so this is a X541UV, and mine's an F541U. But they've got to be very similar. And if we look down here, it gives us kind of a block diagram, and this is the power sequence. And then very nicely it gives us some test points. And this is the coil where I'm seeing a resistance of 1 ohm. And it's saying here like 28, and then like this PL8702 plus 5 volt SUSO, which I think is something to do with the USB. And I'm not sure what this number 448 refers to, if it's supposed to be a resistance. I'm just looking at this. This is saying 23 and this is saying 19, and this is where I was reading lower than that, but I was reading lower resistances there. So maybe this does in some way refer those numbers, 19 and 21 moments. Hello? Sorry guys, just somebody came in to want to buy something then. Okay, yeah, so these numbers 19, 29 and so on, they don't refer to these numbers in the power on sequence. I'm guessing they're just test point numbers. And there's no more to this, it ends there. So this may just be part of a document. But anyway, we know we have a low resistance here, practically a short circuit. So from here, we need to have a look at the board view, and let's see if we can figure out what this actually powers up and where the short circuit might actually be. So this is our board view. And this is the coil. This is where I was testing. These are the coils. So it's this one, 5 volt SUS LX30. And I'll just move the inset so you can see the stuff on this side as well. One moment. There, that should be a bit better. So you should be able to see this now. So this is where the inductors are, the two of them. And this is the one that we're interested in. And this is this 5 volt SUS. So if we go to the other side, the inductor, we can see where that goes to. It looks like this is a capacitor, PC. So this is a capacitor which does go to ground. So it could be short circuit capacitor. This looks like PJP, is this a jumper? Yeah, it looks like it's the same signal in and out. And this is going to ground again. So this is like maybe another capacitor. So there's a couple of possibilities, something short there. This then goes to a MOSFET. This is, I'm just getting a rough idea. This is a resistor. Okay. Where's that resistor go to? Well, that goes, yeah, it goes to a chip here. I mean, it's a bit hard to say. I'm just looking around to get an idea where this is actually going to. But it's certainly going down in the direction of the USB. Okay, so first thing we need to do, we can see roughly we've got a problem here somewhere. We need to effectively find where the problem is. So the first question is, which side of the inductor is actually the short? Yeah, which side? Is the short on this side? Is the short on the other side? I can probably prove that one or two ways. First of them, I can use the ESR meter. And secondly, if that isn't conclusive, I can just remove the inductor and we can have a look. Okay, so let's figure out, first of all, which side of that inductor has actually got our short circuit. So the way this method works, if we take our multimeter and we just measure this coil, it will read like a short circuit. Yeah, you can't see any difference from one side to the other. Might not be auto ranging now, but it'll read, yeah, it just reads low like a short circuit, the same as if I short the leads together, it reads the same. So if I measure the resistance to ground from either side of this coil, I'm just going to see the same reading. Yeah, 1.1, 1.1. Yeah, there's no difference. So this will not tell me which side of that coil has got a short circuit on. The ESR meter works in a different way. It sends a 100 kilohertz frequency signal through the components. Now, an inductor is designed effectively to block AC, or at least appear like a resistance to AC. So if I now use the ESR meter and measure across our inductor, it doesn't read like 0 anymore, it reads like 3 ohms, yeah? So we can now go from one side of the inductor to ground, okay? Just go to there, and we're reading 3 ohms, yeah? And we can go to the other side of the inductor to ground, and we're reading a low resistance, not 0, but much lower, yeah? So we can say for sure that the short circuit is this side of the inductor, yeah? This side. That's why you need an ESR meter, guys. I mean, yeah, you can unsolder the thing, you know, you can unsolder the coil, yeah? I mean, there's not so difficult, the surface mount. You might have to take the capacitors off first, they might go pop, you know, with the heat. Yeah, you can do it, but, you know, why? ESR meter, yeah? Invaluable. Okay, enough lecturing going on. Let's get back to the fault finding. So, we know it's this side. So let's go back now to our board view. Let's see if we can find some likely candidates to see where the short is. If I can't really find anything particular, I think what I'll probably end up doing is sticking 5 volts, take the coil off probably, and stick 5 volts in here, or at least stick a volt or so in here and see what warms up. That's probably the best bet. But let's have a quick look to see if there's anything fairly obvious again. This then is the board view. So we know the short is not on this side of the coil, it's on this side of the coil. The ESR meter's told us that. This is a capacitor, which is actually the electrolytic capacitor, which I just showed you next to the coil. And that goes to ground, so that could be short. There's another capacitor here, and this goes to ground, so this could be short. This thing is a jumper. Yeah, it's marked PJP, it's a jumper. And I can probably just remove that jumper. So the first thing I'll do is try and desolder the jumper and see which side it is, yeah? If I desolder this and the short's still here, it's got to be one of these two capacitors because it doesn't go to anywhere else, yeah? Let's look on the board. If the short is this side of the jumper, then we have a few more candidates. So there's a MOSFET. But if you look at this MOSFET, I'm hovering the mouse over it, none of the pins go to ground. So it can't itself be a short circuit to ground. This, whatever it is, the other end doesn't go to ground. Unless it maybe connects to something else that does go to ground, but it doesn't go to ground directly. This one doesn't go to ground directly. It seems to go to this chip here. Which I'm guessing this chip here probably has got, yes, it's got ground on it, so it could be. What is this thing? It's a resistor. So unless that's a 0 ohm resistor, we're not going to see a short through it. Yeah, it doesn't actually tell me the value, but never mind. Does it? No, it doesn't. Okay, never mind. We can check anyway, either side of this resistor, yeah? And the other place it goes to is here. This chip has ground on it. It's a USB power switch. So that seems like a likely possibility. And it also goes up here as well. Another capacitor to ground, so that's another possibility. And this chip here, which looks like, well, it's got ground on it, so it could be that chip as well. And it looks like this takes 5 volts in. I wouldn't be surprised it develops, yeah, so LDO, it's a regulator, probably develops 2.5 volts coming out of it, so yeah, maybe 3 volts as well. Anyway, that's what it's doing. So let's go back to where we were. Let's not get too distracted, and let's see again. So the first thing I want to do is find this jumper and see if I can remove it and then see which side of the jumper has actually got our short circuit. Okay, let's go back over to the workbench and let's have a look. Just put the overhead camera on. Okay. Move my. In fact, no, I'll use the microscope. The microscope's in position. Let's use the microscope. Okay, I've got the microscope. That makes it a bit easier. So this is our coil with a low resistance. This is one of the capacitors. The other capacitor looks like it isn't fitted anyway. And this is the jumper going to the MOSFET. And this jumper is just a blob of solder. So let's get that off there and have a look to see which side of the jumper is the short. Take a little bit of solder braid. Let's just remove this. Have I got it? Yeah, it looks like I've got it. Okay, so that's removed our jumper, yeah? Now let's have a look, let's just get the meter where you can see it, and then we'll, there we go, the meter up here. Let's have a look now to see where our resistance is. Our short, or pretty much short. Okay, so we'll just go to ground, and we'll just go to the either side of the jumper. So this side, I can just go to the MOSFET, basically. And that's reading, yeah, about 1 ohm. And the coil now, which is the other side of the jumper, is now reading high. So we know the short is this side of that jumper. It can't be this MOSFET because no pins on the MOSFET goes to ground, but it goes to a few different things now. It goes to a chip over here, this one, and it goes to another chip further up the board as well. And that's what we could get on the board view, but it's a chip up here, one of these, I think, probably this one, with one of these. So let's have a look to see if we can find where the short is, or close to short. I'm going to do this by injecting some voltage where I've just removed this jumper. So basically, I'm going to inject the voltage onto this side. Just find it, yeah. Onto here. I'll probably just solder the end of this MOSFET actually, because all those pins are connected together. And yeah, let's just stick like a volt or so in for now. Or, you know, I mean, we know that this rail supplies are 2.5 volts possibly. So I wouldn't want to put more than 2.5 volts in case that was short was up there. But let's stick a volt or so in here and let's just see if we can actually get something to warm up. And that might quickly tell us where the problem actually is on this motherboard. I've taken a thick piece of wire then and just attached it to here. I want a nice heavy piece of wire so I can get some current into this. And then that leaves my hands free now, so I can just clip the ground from the power supply in here. And then let's stick some current in, yeah, let's see if something warms up. So I'll just arrange the camera so you can see them, and then let's have a go. This is where a thermal camera would come in very handy, but I don't have one. It's on my shopping list, but they're quite expensive. But yeah, it would certainly be useful. So we'll have to use a thermal finger, I think, in this case. So I've got the power supply set to 1.1 volts. Let's just stick some power into it. Now, it's drawing a bit over an amp, so something should warm up. And now I'm just going to touch around things to see where this is going. I know it went up here somewhere, and I know it went down here somewhere. Let's see if we can get something to actually warm up a little bit. Nothing obvious yet. I mean, if I can't get something to warm up, there's another way we can do this. Let's see first. I might leave it on for a little while and just see if actually something decides to reveal itself. Okay, well that's been on for about 5 minutes now and nothing in this area is warming up at all. But something here is getting hot. And I can see here as well, yeah, this chip I think is getting hot. And I can see around here more corrosion. So let's have a look under the microscope and let's see what we've actually got here. Let's clean a bit of this off then and let's have a look to see what we have here. This is another USB port, by the way, which I didn't really spot before. Doesn't look broken. I'm going to show you in a minute. That doesn't look broken. But it's obviously something's got on the board here. Let's have a look. something doesn't want to come off it too easily. Yeah, something doesn't want to come off it too easily. So you guys said vinegar and brown sauce. I said on another video, yeah, if you've watched the other one, we were trying to clean up some corrosion like this. But let's have a look just to see if we can see what actually is going on here. Okay, so we can just clean the stuff off there. Let's just find something to poke at it with, and I'll just get on the microscope and let's see. Yeah, so this is just a bit of corrosion now on here. I can actually get it off this way. A bit of corrosion around here as well. A bit of corrosion around here as well. But I think this chip is what was getting hot. Let's have a look if we can see on the board view as well. I think. Let's see if we can see what this thing is. But I suspect it's another USB. Okay, just one more go at that, and one more wipe at that. Okay, let's have a look down the microscope. Well, I think I've got the worst of the corrosion off, that's for sure. I think we got the worst of that off there. Okay, let's have a look at the board view and let's see what this thing is. Okay. So this is where we're injecting the voltage around here, and this thing is actually it's actually here. It goes here as well. I missed it. I missed where this goes. Oh, and this powers to this chip here. USB controller, and this chip I am pretty sure will have ground. Yeah, there's ground in the middle. This is ground. So this looks to be where our problem is. Either that or it's this capacitor. Yeah, that's also ground. There's a couple little inductor beads by the looks of it. Okay, so let's see if we can actually figure out. I'm pretty sure it was this that was getting hot. Maybe try with a little bit of alcohol and see if we can actually see if that is actually our problem with this and not this capacitor. It's definitely somewhere here. So we'll just go back over to the microscope again. One moment. There we go. I can get ready to stick some voltage in this first. But first let's just get a bit of isopropyl. Just there's a cotton wool bud fell inside it, and that'll do. So the capacitor is next to the chip. I mean, I can take one or the other off. I can just check. I'm sure if we just get the meter on resistance range. Here we go. Okay, we can just check. There's going to be a short here. Not going to be the short here. Something was getting hot. Well, that's interesting because I don't actually read it there. And I thought I would read it there, unless I've just not got a good connection. Okay, let's have a look. So let's put the power back onto our board and let's see what happens in this area. And one of the leads fell off somewhere. One moment. Well, I was thinking the lead had fell off somewhere because I've got no current flowing anymore, but that actually isn't the case. What's happened is the short circuit is gone. So if I just get my voltmeter here and we measure across the green wire, this is where I'm actually injecting the voltage into this board. I can just get to it. Oh, somewhere over here, yeah, there. Yeah, so that's the green wire where we're injecting voltage, and we now have 1.14 volts. Yeah, so there's even no voltage drop. So what's happened is the short circuit has actually now gone away. Maybe it wasn't the chip. Maybe it was just effectively the gunk was conducting down here. There's no heat here anymore. Okay, so let's see if this motherboard actually powers up now. Hold on, looks like the mystery is solved now why the short's gone away. Looks like this capacitor was short and it's rotted off at one end and actually fell off the board now. And I was just getting the board ready to actually test to see if it boots up. So we can replace this. It might be a little bit tricky because there's actually like corrosion here. But this capacitor effectively is just on that 5 volts rail, and I'm not totally convinced it's absolutely necessary to fit it, at least to get this thing to boot up. So I'll leave that off for the moment and I will just see whether or not this motherboard actually does power up now. I've connected the keyboard back up. I haven't bothered to replace that short circuit capacitor at the moment. I'm interested to see if we've got any power now. I've soldered the little jumper, the bridge of solder back in again now. So let's have a look. So we'll put some power on. We've got some power coming here. Just the other way around. In fact, we've got a slightly dodgy power connection as well. What have we got now? Volts. What have we got now? We've got a bad connection. We have 19 volts. This is a very dodgy connection on the power connector. That's not very good. Try and hold this in place. What have we got here? Yeah, we've got 5 volts there now. What have we got here? 3.3. We've got 2.5 now. Oh, something's getting a bit warm on the heatsink. 2.5. Nothing here. Oh, there is. 0.9. That's on the GPU. Doesn't seem to be anything on that one. Oh, the fan's running. 0.9 on here. But this one doesn't appear to have anything on it. And yet the fan's running. That's interesting. I thought there'd be a voltage on there. 0.9. 0.9. It's getting quite warm. Let's see if we can put the memory back in. I've just switched it off. We'll put the memory back in. And let's connect a monitor. And let's see if we can get a BIOS screen out of it now. So there's the RAM. I don't really know why there's no voltage on this one though. I expected if everything else was there, there'd be voltage. I noticed it came on without me pressing the power switch as well. Let's see. So there's the HDMI, so we're connecting to the to an external monitor. Just try and wedge this with my meter just to keep the power on this. Put the monitor on, so we'll set HDMI. I'll show you on the camera if we've got something. Okay, it's HDMI. Power's back on, as long as I've got a good connection down here. Yeah, I've got 5 volts, so I've probably got all the rest of them. Blue light, okay, the lights come on the monitor, but you're seeing no signal. And I'm a bit unsurprised because I don't seem to have a voltage on one of these rails, and that 0.9. This appears to have nothing, yeah. In fact, it does have nothing, I don't really know why. Fan spinning. Yeah, but there's no video output coming from it. Does pressing the keyboard on off have any effect? No, it doesn't. Okay, so we fixed one problem. Now we have another one, which is there's no supply on this rail here. That's a little bit warm. Nothing on this one. Okay, we have to go back to the maybe if you just find the repair guide actually, and then the board view. Let's see what that actually is. I will just mention, by the way, it seems remarkable to me that this laptop has so many problems. I mean, I think by all fairness, I should have it working by now. And I'm wondering if this is like come from a eBay spares or repair or something. There's the things like it's obviously been open before. I could see that. It was very dusty inside. But like the laptop itself wasn't dusty, which seems strange. There's like corrosion underneath a plastic sheet in places where corrosion shouldn't possibly get, but it had. And it's just like by multiple problems with this, and I don't know. I'm a bit suspicious of the history of this laptop. Anyway, let's have a look. So let's go further down the rabbit hole with this one, yeah. We'll just go over to the screen. Right, so this is the voltage that's missing, this one here, VCC GT. I have nothing on there. I have VCore and I have NVDD. So this is obviously the GPU, this is the core. This one's missing. I didn't check if I had VRAM, I think, which is this one, but I can check it. FBVDDQ. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the voltage to the DDR. Looks like I didn't need to put the memory stick back in anyway because it's already got onboard RAM, so I can take that back out. this is the timing chart. So we can see the sequence of various power rails coming up. The one that we don't have, VCC GT, is the last one that powers up. And I'm pretty sure we have this stuff, 2.5, 3, 5. I'm pretty sure we're getting at least as far as here because these rails are there. I'm a bit concerned they just come on without pressing the power button, and the power button on the laptop doesn't seem to do anything on the keyboard. I'm looking at this now. So we have a power good. We have this one here, all system power good, and that comes before this one. And I'm thinking, let's check if we've actually got as far as here. So there isn't a hash on it. There isn't a hash after it. So this is an active high signal. And we can see it. If we just go to here, it's showing us that it's actually here, which is next to this chip by the battery connector, and that should be active high. So let's jump in at that point and let's see whether or not we've actually got all system power good. And if we have, let's work our way along from there and try and figure out why we have a missing voltage. So I could zoom this down a little bit more. Let's just get in a bit so we can see it. There we go. Yeah, I think it's still in the shot. There we have it, focused. So this all system power good to me looks like it should be on this pad here, this test point. Looking at what it was showing me on that that chart, yeah. I mean, it's all upside down on our bench, but that doesn't matter. So let's just get the meter where we can see it. There it is. Make sure it's on volts and it's all on auto ranging. Let's see if this powers up, because I do have a dodgy connection here. Well, let's have a look to see if it powers up. So we'll switch it on. We'll just check. So let's see if we've got the... No, so we don't have a good connection. Let me just try and get a good connection. That's also infuriating when you're trying to fix something. Yeah, we've got that. Yeah, 0.9. This is V-core. This is the missing one. And this is the power good. So we've got the power good 3.3. That looks very reasonable. So I'll just switch it off. I mean, the fan starts to run. It does get warm. So that looks reasonable. So let's see if we can figure out what we should have after that one. Okay, we can have a look. So we've got this one, all system power good. The next one should be this one, PM power OK PCH. That's the next one. So we're going to work our way towards this to see why we don't have this. So PM power OK PCH. If we look down here, it's somewhere in this lot. I'll find it in a minute. Oh, there, right under there, PM power good PCH, and that looks to me, it's a bit hard to see. Like this is, yeah, SOT23, but it's not a transistor, it's a diode. I'm realising now this is telling the component number D2501, which we could find on the board view, but we can see it. So there's two of these here, and it's on like this end of this one, which would normally be like the collector if it was a transistor. So we want to see if that point is high. So again, let's go over to our board and let's find that and see if we've got this one. One moment. Overhead camera. Okay, so it's down near the RAM slot, so I just need to move this slightly so we can get to where we want to be and we can see where we want to be. I've just zoomed it down a little bit more so we can see it. So I'll put the power on again. Oh, I have to put the where you can actually see the meter now. 1 second. Yeah, there you go. You can see the meter in the inset window. So we'll switch it on. It is on, apparently. Make sure I've actually got some power coming in. So I said, I do have a dodgy connection on this power. It's not helping at all. So bear with me 1 second, guys. I'm just checking on the 5 volts. Do we have some? Yeah, I've got power. I've got power. What are we on here? So it's here, yeah. Yeah, so that's high when I've got power. So we've got that one. So we just need to work away on the remaining steps to see. Okay, I found the next step. So it's showing us here that the next thing is going to be PCH sustat or active low and platform reset, PLTRST active low. I can't find this one, but I can find this one, and this is the thing that happens just before this power rail should activate. So PLTRST should go low, and it's not on here, it's on the other side of the board. It's actually here, PLTRST, and it shows it, so it's near to the SIO. Well, let's just have a look so we can actually see where it is, otherwise we can possibly use the board view. So platform reset, oh yeah, there's like another, it's a transistor this time, Q3201, and we can see that's almost certainly the base of the transistor if you know the layout for these things. So I'll need to flick the board over so we can see the other side, and let's have a look to see if we have this signal going low. So the signal is going to be on the base of this transistor here, and this should be active low, so this should go low. So let's put the power on. I'll just check I've actually got some power on the board because that dodgy connection on the power. Just one moment. Yeah, I've got power on the board. So what's on this? And it's high. So that is high. Oh, it's now gone low, but I bet the power's gone off. I bet I've just lost the power. No, I've got the power. Oh, that's interesting. Touched it's high. No, it stays high. I just had a dodgy connection, that's all. So platform reset is high and it's staying high. I wonder if it's something to do with the power switch on the keyboard. Let me just... Oh, it's powering up. The lights are on, yeah. It's right. The thing's powering up now. Let's see if we actually get a picture out of it. Now, I pressed the button before and it didn't work, but now it is working. Just get the HDMI onto here. Don't want to run it too long without the fan on it. And let's see, I've got a blue light come on the monitor at least. That's a good sign. HDMI no signal. HDMI no signal. Push it in properly. HDMI no signal. Now the monitor's gone off again. Well, we're a step further down the line, guys. It's like we've now got power on the board, and yet I still don't. No, I don't have a picture. Nope, I can tell a lie. I do have a picture. Yeah, it's working. It looks like I had a slightly dodgy connection on here. I had to push down on the keyboard connector here. And now we actually have a BIOS screen. Okay, so we'll switch that off because there's no fan on it. Let's put this thing back together now, and hopefully that's the final problem. We might actually have it working. Okay guys, I've put it back together. You can't see on the overhead camera very well. You'll see it well enough on this one. I'll just make the window a little bit bigger. You can actually see what we've got. There we go. So, yeah. I mean, the battery's charging. It was on 2%. It's now gone to 3%. So, it's definitely charging the battery. It's coming directly to the BIOS. I have no idea if it actually got an operating system on this. It's an i7-7700. It's quite a nice CPU. 16 gig of RAM, and that's quite nice. You can see the Intel HD graphics is what it's showing. Whether or not it's using the NVIDIA, I guess it probably isn't. Battery's going up another %. So I think now I just have to charge this up and see what it does after that. But it's definitely running now. That's the good thing. So if this then, once I've got it booted up, I mean, I have to check if it's seeing the hard drive. And then, yeah, we can call this one repaired. Right, so I'll just get some charges and let's see what it does. Okay, now we know a little bit more about this laptop as well. I went up to see Andy, he's only just up the road from me. In the meantime, it's charged up to 41%, so it's definitely charging up. Yeah, 16 gig of RAM, as we say. it seems to think, or seems to know there's a hard drive there, serial 88 port 0, I'm thinking. But there's no operating system on it. So anyway, it turns out that the customer who brought this in bought it for spares or repair for €50. And he's either, I'm guessing, taken it into another repair shop who couldn't fix it, or he's had a look at himself and couldn't fix it, and then he took it to Andy, Andy brought it to me, and now I have fixed it. Which actually wasn't, it was a bit frustrating, but it wasn't that difficult, if you know what I mean. Really, to be quite honest. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that video. Hope you're pleased with the result. The customer says he'll just have it back. I've given the price for repair. I said, look, I can put you in an operating system on as well, charge you for that. He said, no, if it's working, it's in the BIOS, he's quite happy. So he's either going to have to fit a new hard drive or just, you know, repair the operating system on this one if it isn't faulty. So, there we go. What else is there left to say? Well, not a lot. It's another success, and I'll see you all soon on another video. Adios, chicos.